I'm Ron Reader, and this is Ron Reader Digs the Universe. And today's topic is civility in public discourse. Spring 1999. It was toward the end of my very first year teaching high school theater out in Baytown, and I was hanging out after class in the classroom of the one faculty friend I made in the 6 years that I was there, Mr. Short, a social studies teacher. And Mr. Short introduced me to a very interesting man. Another social studies department teacher, a government teacher, who word on the street had it was a young ordained Southern Baptist minister who was teaching while he was trying to find his church home. So I'm in Mr. Short's room talking with him about whatever, nice, interesting guy, and we shared some of the same interests, and this guy comes in, and I don't even remember the guy's name, so let's give him a name. Let's call him Preacher Teacher. And so the festivities begin. Mr. Short is like, "Hey Ron, this is Preacher Teacher. I'd like to introduce you two guys." "Oh, hey, Preacher Teacher, good to meet you. I've heard a lot about you." Preacher Teacher then stares at me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then, in his best Christopher Walken impersonation, says, "I know who you are." Suddenly, this was weirdly tense, and I had no idea why. So, trying to break the tension, I said, "I heard about you too." Preacher Teacher then gave me, again, the silent stare. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know. What the fuck, I muttered something about grading papers and then got the fuck out of there. It was a bizarre encounter, and I thinking about it for the couple of weeks after it happened, I came to some conclusions that this Preacher Teacher guy was a cray-cray evangelical, the kind where being liberal is the same thing as serving Satan, and I was just like, hey, I grew up as an evangelical. Don't you do your kooky fucking devil shit on me. But, what can you do? Well, that was 20 years ago, and the Preacher Teacher type, well, these people are everywhere now. They're all Trump supporters. They're all true believers, Kool-Aid drinkers. If you're liberal, you're Satan's gay boyfriend. And Preacher Teacher's weird passive-aggressive hostility, that has evolved into what today people are calling civility. Let's explore the fucked upness, shall we? One, slinging bullshit is not civil. Indeed, slinging bullshit is a total dick move. I mean, when the first thing out of your mouth, is just a line of fucking bullshit, and you expect me to believe it, and you're acting like it's all good and fine and everything like that, you are being a big, huge fucking asshole, and conservatives do this all the time. Under these circumstances, civility is impossible. I mean, it's just gone instantly at the beginning of any encounter between a liberal and conservative. Dead on arrival, kaput. Conservatives don't even try to be civil. Instead, they smear dog shit on your face as their opening statement. Now, okay, I am fully aware of the fact that a lot of these conservatives actually believe the bullshit that they continually sling. But man, conservative arguments are pretty shoddy, badly constructed. Believers they should know better, you know, because about 2 seconds of honest scrutiny, which conservatives will not do because it makes them feel bad, 2 seconds of honest scrutiny destroys all these lies. So I just have no sympathy for conservatives who believe, you know, the bullshit. In fact, you know, just forcing fucked up cognitive neuroses on me and calling it debate, that's not cool. Insisting that I respect these self-imposed delusions is not cool. Conservatives, I address you directly. You see this? You see this? This is an honest, reasonably angry reaction which you provoked. Your civility here is a joke and it is not to be taken seriously. No, really, fuck you. Oh yeah, that was nice. Liberals, if a conservative calls you out on incivility, you tell him to go fuck himself and relax in the good vibes that comes from the knowledge of knowing that you have done the right thing. I mean, we got fascists and Nazis taking over, global warming, cops executing black people in the streets, MAGA hats beating immigrants, Russian bots and hackers, and on and on and on. We should not be nice about any of this. Civility, my ass. Two, centrist bullshit. Okay, I hope that we are all familiar with the concept of the political spectrum, the imaginary line that arranges political positions along the line as they transition from left liberal to right conservative. Now, at the midway point between this, on this imaginary line, there is this weird conservative liberal hybrid that is called the middle. Now, usually the middle it's an honorable position, an honorable place to situate yourself. It's where compromises and deals get done, legislation gets passed. That's where shit gets done in our representative democracy. Moderates and centrists see themselves as pragmatic, problem solvers who are above the petty ideological fray. In fact, centrists are so into this idea that they stake their very identities on the notion that the left and the right can work together, that the debate is honest and fair, that the process works. That's how they get shit done. But the process no longer works. The discussion is no longer reasonable. Conservatives routinely lie now, and they freak out whenever they're challenged. And while they're lying and freaking out, they do whatever they want, from a BJ impeachment to a stolen presidency to mass election tampering to a stolen Supreme Court to acquitting a fucking Nazi. Conservatives don't give a fuck about democracy and will take it down when it gets in their way. It's a different world now. Democracy is broken, political discourse is broken, and the reality the centrists believe they inhabit has fucking collapsed. Moderates no longer play a useful role in the American body politic. The compromisers can no longer broker compromises. Hey, but don't tell them that. They cannot accept their obsolescence. To them, we're all living in a high school civics textbook. Everything is just as it should be, so the problem must be incivility. They lecture us about civility from their establishment Olympus on high. And in a lot of ways, The moderates and centrists are every bit as deluded as conservatives. You know, they seem to think that there is a middle position on the existence of global warming. Moderates sling bullshit too. Civility, my ass. Three, tribalism. As we have seen, civility is driven by identity and the need to maintain that identity by denying reality. Conservatives scream uncivil because confronting the truth threatens their very identities. Centrists scream uncivil because not doing so is to acknowledge their uselessness. Conservatives and moderates have to say uncivil, or else they have a fucking identity crisis. In this way, civility is fucking tribalism. Temper tantrums and schoolmarm clucking standing in the stead of the marketplace of ideas. You know, and it's just like preacher teacher that I was talking about a minute ago. He used civil words, but his creepy coldness, his sizing me up like I'm his freaking prey. And that guy hated my guts, and he wanted me to know it. And if I had dared to mention the obvious hostility that was going on there, this confrontation of stealth would have very quickly escalated into a full confrontation. Be civil, or else. Civility, my ass. In conclusion, speaking of civility and my ass, we are now enduring what reporter Carl Bernstein has called a cold civil war, unfinished business from the 19th century. And as with the Cold War, much of the cold civil war is fought with words. The side with the most effective rhetoric has a decisive advantage. Look, conservatives avoid honest discussion. Centrists provide cover for the conservatives avoiding honest discussion. Advantage conservatives. And that's civility for you. Liberals must shut this shit down as soon as it comes up. We must insist on honest discussion. We must insist that slinging bullshit is not civil. As always, there is a danger of the entire encounter derailing and devolving into a chorus of outraged howling. As always, that's okay, because you didn't want a fake rigged discussion using conservative F in the A rules anyway. It's a win-win. Always, always, always call bullshit on bullshit. Besides, I kind of like the howling. I'm Ron Reader, and this has been another episode of Ron Reader Digs the Universe. Join me, Ron Reader, again next week for another episode of Ron Reader Digs the Universe.
300 years ago, I thought I might get some sleep. Hello, Frank Zappa. And my spirit did a midnight.
Easter egg, Easter egg. Now, for the first time ever on camera, I will present to you my impression of the Wall Street Journal's Peggy Noonan. Are you ready? Here goes. Democrats. Very rude. Fuck you, Peggy Noonan. You suck.